Welcome to VDEOMKR, the podcast that cuts past the highlight reel and takes you straight into the raw behind-the-scenes stories of creatives and makers. I'm Carly, founder of The Good Vibe Media, a woman-owned and operated video production agency and a creative studio space. Every week on VDEOMKR, I sit down with filmmakers, creators, and creative entrepreneurs for a deep, honest conversation you don't typically hear. The late nights, the pivots, the breakdowns that shape the breakthroughs. These are the conversations and stories that make people like me and so many other creatives need to hear. This is a space for growth, for lessons, for community, a place where we learn from each other's real, unfiltered journeys. This is VDEOMKR. Let's get rolling. Welcome to Females Who Film, the series where we shine a spotlight on the women behind the lens, the edit, the pitch, and the vision. Here's the truth. Women make up less than 25% of key behind-the-scenes roles in film and television production. Directors, editors, cinematographers, still in 2025, the numbers are small. But the women who are out here, they're making serious waves. On this show, you'll hear raw, honest, behind-the-scenes conversations with powerhouse creatives who are breaking through ceilings, balancing passion with production schedules, and carving space for themselves in an industry that wasn't exactly built with them in mind. This is not a space for complaining. It's a space for creating, for dreaming louder, for sharing real stories from real women who are redefining what success looks like in film, media, and creative storytelling. And to be clear, we love our guys. We have learned so much from them, collaborated with them, and grown alongside them. But this mic, it's turned up for the women today because visibility breeds possibility. And if you can hear it, you can dream it. So whether you're a filmmaker, editor, writer, producer, or someone who's just starting out with a camera and a dream, you're in the right place. This is Females Who Film. Let's get rolling. Hi, it's Carly. Welcome back to another episode of VDEOMKR. Today, we are coming from Austin, Texas. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. And before I do, I want to give a little background and bio on who she is. Dani is an Emmy Award-winning executive producer with over 20 years leading campaigns that break through the noise. As founder of the Auxiliary Co., she's pioneering the fractional production model, proving that lean teams with A-list talent beat legacy agencies every time. Known for sharp takes on what's broken in the industry and practical solutions to fix it, Dani challenges brands to stop chasing clicks and start building communities. From programmatic waste to death of the creative brief, she delivers provocative insights grounded in 2 decades of battlefield experience. When agencies need expert execution without the overhead, startups need to scale fast, or brands need someone to call BS on their strategy, they call Dani. Welcome, Dani.
Thank you so much for having me. Welcome to Austin.
I know. I'm actually so excited. You're our first podcast guest in Austin. And the first time I came to Austin, you were the first person I called. I'm like, I don't know anything about this city. Please give me the ropes. So I'm just really excited to have you on the show. I cannot wait to introduce you to our listeners. You have such a juicy, amazing background and experience in the industry. So I'm thrilled to tap in.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
And I'll always talk into a mic for however long anyone asks me to.
Okay, let's get into it. Before we get started, we're going to start with some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So first question is, what was the first thing you ever made that you were like so proud of?
I produced a series for Clean and Clear called See the Real Me. And it was really, this was before influencers were around, and we had about, I think it was like 10 different spots where we found real girls, real teenage girls with real stories told each one had an entirely different commercial that was like crafted and shot around them, all for just YouTube content and commercial content. And it was just real stories that we were able to go and tell and find really interesting girls who just, it was all about like, the activation was around the idea that young women don't feel like anyone sees who they are, who they really are. And so sort of showing that in a pre-influencer world. And I really loved it. I think the last one we did was actually for a Vine influencer.
Oh my gosh.
That's how old it was. But I really liked that kind of storytelling.
That's amazing. Okay, I love it. What is a dream creative you would love to collaborate with? Like, so it could be like alive or historical.
I'm currently trying to get a brand to do a mall concert with me.
Oh my gosh.
Because the young, like, they are going to the mall in droves.
Yes.
No one steal my idea. Call me. We'll do it.
Let's go.
You know, like, there should be a full, like, New Kids on the Block style.
Oh my gosh.
But for younger,
I'm
at the
done.
mall, at the outdoor malls, or into like bring them back, but do them in the small little middle of nowhere malls that people don't expect. That's also like really important.
I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah. I keep pitching it. We'll see.
I can't wait to see that come to life. Okay, what's your go-to caffeine order?
I'm just boring. I like a regular coffee with full fat milk. Like if you have full cream, pour that in. Like whole milk. No oat, almond, anything. I need more fat with my coffee.
Yeah. I actually love when my son was born 3 years ago, we started getting that raw milk from Sprouts from, in Arizona. But now that we've started to do that, I'm like, okay, we can't get any other milk. Like
that
this
was the
is
thing
it.
is you get like whole milk in your house for kids. And then you're like, wait, this is delicious.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
So true. Okay. Where do you feel the most creative?
Working with creative agencies, creative teams. So I feel really creative when it's, here's this thing we want to do that is impossible. And it's how do I disassemble that and put it back together? That I really love having that part of production. I am not here, just take this idea and execute it producer. I know you think you know what the idea is, but let's actually like get to the raw part of it and make it bigger and better.
Love. What is one production moment you've experienced that you will never, ever forget?
Oh my God, it feels like there's so many. Production moment I'll never forget. And then it's like you ask me that, and then I instantly
You're like
forget all the things I've ever done. I'm trying to think, like there's so many. Celebrities are always interesting, and just like figuring out their laundry list of things that they want. But I was filming something with Keke Palmer on a rooftop in LA, and it was so windy. And we needed this one shot, but the wind wasn't coming from the right direction. And it was just one of those, like, I'm just sitting there with a board and like everyone's just being the wind. Everyone come and be the wind in the opposite direction.
Yes.
But I mean, there's so many fun things. I think it's just that doesn't even occur to me anymore because it feels normal to
for sure.
Or, did a series a couple years ago where no one told us that the house we were filming in, because we had renovated this chef's kitchen, that they hadn't decorated the rest of the house, and we were supposed to have a dinner party. I'm in Sag Harbor, so I'm at the one like Home Goods on Sag Harbor buying everything they have, decorating the entire house until 4 a.m. And that's not. You're
like,
the job
I'm a
description.
home decorator now. Just
like
add that
I'm
to
with
the
the art
list.
department. Yeah, it's whatever you have to do.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, what's your favorite productivity hack?
Timers. I have not only my watch, but I have a little cube on my desk that, because I'll zone in, and then all of a sudden I won't have eaten or gotten up, and it's important. Like, I have to time block my whole day.
Yeah.
So I have this little cube that it just has different, like 15, 30, 45, and you just sort of roll it and put it on whatever time, and then it automatically goes off. But it's a physical thing you have to like move.
Yes.
So it's harder to ignore than like your watch is easy to just ignore.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say is the 15, 30, 45. I feel like those are good time blocks to be able to do one thing, like zone in.
Yeah. It's like I know that I will spend 4 hours like on a director search because I'm such a perfectionist, but I really only need to spend 1 hour.
Yep.
So it's more of that,
Yeah.
like not zoning in.
Setting boundaries with
Setting
yourself
boundaries with
and your
myself.
time. Okay, last one. What is something about running a production or creative operations that most people would really be surprised to learn?
I don't know. I would say you have to be egoless. Like working in this, you deal with so many people's egos, especially in creatives, that I think it's really important to just, what we do is make other people's ideas. So it's important to not have any kind of an ego. Be, I think, assertive enough to raise your hand when something's wrong or like when you have a differing opinion, but like brush it off if your opinion is important because you don't want anything to go wrong. But at the same time, like you're there to execute someone. If you can't sell them in and why there's a problem, then you just have to move forward with it. And it can be a hit to people's egos sometimes where it's just, we're all serving the same purpose.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to rewind the tapes. Let's go back to how you even got into this industry. What was that first spark where you're like, yep, full send, this is the direction that I want to go?
I was in love with old Hollywood film. So like I was obsessed with the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra in high school. And I love old Hollywood movies and Gone with the Wind and just sort of the era of MGM. But I wasn't like an art film person. That was not for me. So I went to film school. The first 2 years I was like, wait, I'm just sitting here learning about film theory and I wasn't getting to touch anything. Yeah. And the only opportunity that came up to, like, if you were an underclassman, you had to sort of try to get on somebody else's production. So the university TV station had a dating show that was looking for a host. Okay. And I was like, I will host this show if you let me like produce it and like touch the stuff. I hated it. I was not like good on camera, but I got to like learn stuff. And then I transferred to a film school in LA where it was really like, you worked in the industry all day and you went to class at night and you were taught by professors that's what they did and you got to fit, anyone could make anything. But I still didn't know what production was, I guess, like what that role was. I just knew that it was me and a bunch of dudes that wanted to be Tarantino. And they all knew what a cinematographer was and what a director was and what a screenwriter was. But like no one knows what a producer really is as a role, especially because there's so many different types. So when I really I saw my first strip board, old school like script breakdown strip board, I was like, perfect. Organizing a puzzle and paperwork, filing permits for people. I was like, this is amazing.
I love language.
And I just got really lucky that my first job was at a post house that did commercials when they still shot commercials on film. Yeah. So it never occurred to me because I would see the world's best directors and DPs coming through there because that's where they made their money. It wasn't on the films they were doing. And I briefly tried film, but like as soon as I really got the taste of advertising and doing a lot of different things at once, I just loved it. Yeah.
Was there like, other than your professors, who else had big influence? Did you have mentors or anyone that you like really leaned on?
I wish.
Yeah, true.
I wish.
Sis, I know.
I wish. I think in Los Angeles at the time, this was like the early, 2005, 2003. I worked for a lot of men. I just worked for a lot of men who didn't train, they weren't teaching me. Yeah. I learned more at the time than I realized now. But it was more of just, I took a lot of different kinds of jobs. I did a lot of different things. But I worked for a man named Brian Turner who had started Priority Records back in the day. So like he was the first to sign NWA and he basically produced all of Ice Cube's first films. Okay. And helped fund those. Okay. But he just, more from like a business acumen, he taught me a lot. It's more about like the ideas that don't feel sexy or fun that can lead to a lot. So he started, this is a long-winded story, but it's interesting. I love this. He once told me like how he started Priority Records. So he had been in the record industry and then he wanted to start his own label, started his own label, but couldn't get anybody to come and, do his label. And he needed to sell some records. He needed something. Do you remember the California Raisins commercial?
Oh gosh.
The claymation raisins that sang and danced that the state of California paid for. Okay. No one in that campaign was smart enough to sign that studio band to anything. So he found all the studio musicians, made a band, California Raisins, and started recording and selling albums. And that's how he made his first million.
Wow.
And not sexy, right? But like hit platinum faster than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of thinking that was more impressed by than a lot of the other people I met in Hollywood.
For sure. Absolutely. How do you see, like, what's the difference now for the industry as a whole and for, you know, this next generation of people wanting to step into it? How does that compare?
Well, I learned to edit on film. Like, that's the other crazy thing. And because we had to learn how to develop in film.
Option,
And at the time, Final Cut 1 was such a complicated software because they had to make the process work the same as it did for people that were editing on actual film. So that's why, like, now you can use your phone and it's super simple, but you know, originally it was a lot more involved, but I think it was more of that when the takes were that much more expensive that you really, it was very important to plan everything.
Yes.
Nothing comes organically. I think I get way more out of training younger people now than I do, like, even doing the majority of my job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be on set anymore. I'm like, this is not for me. You guys go do it. I get a lot more out of training people. But a lot of times when I'm working with either younger people that are working on my team as producers, or even like account people in the agency world who don't know much about production, but in their mind they're like, oh, TikTok's organic, everything's organic. We don't need to script anything. We don't need to like plan anything. I was like, yes, you do though. Like, nothing just comes together perfectly on camera, and there's a lot that goes into everything. And once you realize that, it just sort of becomes simplified. You can get a brief or look at an image and you instantly, okay, we have to do this. Like, you just start breaking down the laundry list of things in your head.
Yeah. And that's the biggest misconception for people that don't have the exposure into the industry. You know, that like from the outside perspective, it's, I
had a client the other day that was like, oh, so because we were doing, now everything is influencers, and which is great, but it's going back to storytelling.
Yes.
But around any kind of production, there's the lights and everything you have to have. So when you're like, oh, we want to film them dancing, but we also want to film them sitting. I'm like, you just added 4 hours to the day. Like, to add a chair. I'm like, yes.
You don't even realize.
No.
Yeah, it's so true. What were some, we always say, like, at our team, and part of our culture is like leaning into the failures because they are the biggest opportunity for growth. So what were some of like the big failures, epic, like, oh shit moments that really catapulted you into big growth?
I mean, it can be anything from, when one of my first jobs was literally like picking up film at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. from photocam that had been developed, taking it back to like setting all the things up for telesending and color correction work. This was how old, it sounds so old. No one knows what this is anymore. And then I had to like ship the boxes and boxes of film out to like who was going to edit them. And I had forgot, like I left a couple boxes out. Was like, just like, like one of those terrible, like, things you're kind of going back to anything from just like realizing you didn't double check a cell in an Excel sheet. Right. And like, oh man, there was like $50,000. Like, how do I figure this out? Yeah. But I don't have any like, oh my God. I think I felt that way at the time.
Yeah.
But you learn so much. Like, I always tell my team that I will have your back and I will take the heat for you when a failure happens. Yeah. But if I pre-solve all the problems for you, you're not going to physically learn why. You need that like gut punch to just know why it's important. Like, I'm not being a stickler as to like, I'm OCD about the way every single thing should be done. I'm teaching you that because once you know the process, it's easier to solve the problems later when they come.
Truth. Reminds me a lot of parenting too.
Exactly. It's harder in some ways.
It is, for sure.
You can't yell at your employees the way you can.
Yeah, exactly.
You're grounded.
Yeah. Go to the corner. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for people that might not know you yet, what is the OXCO?
How dare you?
I know. Shame on you. What is the OXCO, and what problem in the industry were you trying to solve when you started it?
So I started my career on the production company side for a long time, and then I did another 10 years in-house at big agencies, so IPGs, UMs, large, holding company agencies. And I really saw a disconnect running creative departments and video production departments as to the workflow process and the way that the role of an agency producer versus the role of the production company producers are so different.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to talk to each other because they often speak a completely different language.
Right.
But because I had come from one and then into the other, I was getting this picture a little bit better. And then at the same time, all these bigger holding company agencies were like, why can't we do this in-house? Why don't we have our own, like, why are we giving $500,000 to this company? I'm like, because you don't need to do this. This is not like, if you want the work to be really good, go find the right exact people to do that project,
right.
Not just the easiest. And too often in-house agency producers or EPs, they're so burnt out because they're overstretched. So they're just hiring the same people over and over again. And I loved being on the agency side, and one day you're making, a TV show, the next day you're doing an event, then you're doing a video game, and just lots of different kinds of things. Yeah. But I didn't like this red tape issue that I kept getting into when I wanted to make sure the work was really done properly. Mm-hmm. And as production, we're kind of the bottom of the funnel. So we get a lot of the blame, even if it's not our fault. It's like, we're just doing what we've been told we're allowed to do.
Right.
And we try, and in-house somewhere just was not giving me that, ability to push the work and improve upon it. So I left knowing that I didn't want to have a production company because good production companies here's the niche we're really, really good at.
Right.
At least they should, good ones.
Yes.
And that's what they do. And that's just not my world. I like going and taking the creative brief and going to find the perfect assembly of people to make it. The right director, the right photographer, putting the right group together. That's my skill set.
Yeah.
So at the same time, independent agencies were really coming up. So, and they're now having another resurgence where creatives were leaving Ogilvy or a big company, and they didn't need an office or they didn't need a lot of people. So I started getting a lot of requests from them. Hey, do you want to come freelance? I was like, no, I'm not freelance. Mm-hmm. The term fractional didn't exist at the time in 2017 when I started the company. So it was hard to explain. A freelancer is a lot more like an in-house person, but with even less on the line. They will do the bare minimum for you. Mm-hmm. They will sit in the corner. They will copy and paste emails to finish a project. You're not embedding them with your team. They don't know enough about the brand to really push the project forward in a good way. But a fractional person is it's a consultant. It is a team of experts that are here to make sure you have exactly what you need. Mm-hmm. So my company comes in on a fractional basis at hourly rates too, so that we can actually work a lot like a production department at an agency where we're working on a lot of different projects. Yeah. So you're not having to pay full day rates to a whole team of people, because maybe you can split it up between your other billing codes, or we have other clients that can do it. Yeah. But we're able to white label with our smaller agencies so that they can really go and not be afraid to sell big ideas because they don't know how they're going to execute it. Mm-hmm. And that's really where the fun is for me. And it's I love having more, the position gives us a little bit more of a acknowledgement that we can say, hey, I know that you think that this is what you want to do, but let's talk about this. Cause I can get my hands a little bit dirtier than a freelancer or an in-house person can.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious if there was a specific moment or a project where you realized the industry needed a different production model.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally working at the last agency I was at before I started the company. And there was this old vet EP there who just was, one of those people they could never fire or let go, but was doing absolutely nothing for the agency. I had worked at an agency before where it was really important that you put together amazing teams.
Yes.
And this was more of just she hired the same production company for every single thing. Didn't even occur to her that wasn't a good idea. Mm-hmm. And just sort of I was literally hired by this agency to come in and revamp their, redo everything. And they wanted to be a higher end creative agency. And then the more I got in there and they were like, we actually don't want you to do anything or change anything.
Oh my gosh.
I realized the holding company agencies cannot support this kind of change.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. They care more about a P&L than they do how good the work is.
Right.
But if you're an agency, if you're a client brand, wouldn't you rather work with an agency that isn't charging you 40 to 50% overhead?
Yeah.
That isn't even going towards the actual work?
Totally.
Like that,
Totally.
like, so these smaller agencies can really pitch bigger, bolder ideas. And I love being able to support that.
Yes. Gosh, I love that so much. What were some of the biggest challenges in the early days of building this company?
Again, the term fractional not being around at
Yeah,
the time was
I
really
mean,
hard because I was like,
truly.
we're not. And everyone assuming we were a production company. I was like, we're not. I had a website for a while that was literally like, we are not a production company.
It's like written on my forehead.
It's because I will, like, we'll line producer, we have to, but it's about, I will find you. I have the Rolodex. I will find you the people. But I also think, like, I don't rep anyone. Because the thing about production companies or even reps are, then I'm just incentivized to get you to use someone that I rep. Whereas they may not be good for the project. Like, I start at a blank slate with every single brief, where it's like, I go to my Rolodex, but then I also go and like find new up and coming talent. So getting that is still like, you know, typically once I can get on a call with a client the first time, they understand it. But it's such an old model that it's just still really like it's a hard sell. Like, people don't quite get it, but it's, you know, it's once they see how much money it saves them and how much time it saves them,
True.
they become
All on
a
board.
long-term client. Yes, I just unfortunately I've had some clients that I've done too good of a job for that they got purchased by a holding company and then they couldn't hire me anymore.
Damn. Okay. What has been the most rewarding part of building your team and the culture in your company?
Oh my gosh, growing a team is the absolute hardest
It's true, sister.
thing. And someone told me this really early on, and it stuck with me, that if it's just you, you don't have a company. If you are not making money off the work of someone else, then you're just a freelancer.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like you're spending, if you quantify what your real hourly rate is, and then it's like, look at the admin stuff you're doing, or, you know, that it makes a big difference. You know, when we all start in this industry or any industry, you know, at an assistant level, we're assisting someone and we're like, my gosh, this guy can't like copy paste. He can't get his own coffee. Why am I having to book his travel? He can't do this himself. And you think it's ridiculous. And then you're like, no, the brain can only hold so much.
Right.
And then you factor in having kids. Like, I hired my very first hire. I hired the month before COVID started.
Oh gosh.
And I got pregnant, like back to back.
Oh my gosh. You're like, okay.
And but it's been the best, like, but learning how to delegate, like, if it's a really hard lesson. And then, you know, my first or second maternity leave, when I came back, like, I came back too hard. And then my clients were like, so-and-so's like, is she okay? It feels like she's not really like on top of things. And I realized it was because I had come in and started like working too much over her shoulder, that she just wasn't. She was like, well, I'm just not doing the work.
Yes.
You're going to do it for me. So it's almost like an all or nothing. Like, you just have to not even look at stuff. I don't want to be involved. Just like,
true. No, I relate to that so much because I feel like every time I try to get my hand in the pot where it's not my role, like I'm tapping into one of my team members' role, I like screw everything up. Like something gets miscommunicated, something gets screwed up, and I'm like, okay, this is why you have your team, to be able to do that, and you trust them, and then that's when things are operating in its best
and also
capacity.
just like finding young talent that like really wants to learn. I think when I've hired more senior people, it hasn't necessarily always worked out because they are good at something, and it isn't what we're doing, and they don't get it. You know, they're not, or I was like, you're kind of on a different path, and that's fine. But I think that you very quickly learn whether someone is like your vibe or not.
Yes, for sure.
And then you never want to leave them. You never want them to leave ever. When your first employee leaves you, you're just bawling.
I know. I relate to that so hard. Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges that agencies face when it comes to scaling production today?
Well, I think that it's not they're having to scale all these departments, right? So it's like, well, I need account people, I need strategists, I need, my creatives, and it's hard to decide where to invest their money. And most of these smaller independent agencies, they have really amazing senior creatives, right? Like executive creative directors, they're probably partners in the agency. Those do not need to be the people doing the actual work. They need to be pitching the idea, have some good young creatives embedded with them that they trust, and then have teams that are often executing that. They need to be on to the next thing. And it's such a hard thing for them to like delegate or let go of
Yeah.
or train younger creatives. So I actually go into a lot of independent agencies and I help train up and coming creatives on how to take an idea into production because they're not taught that, right?
Yeah.
They're not taught production skills. They're not taught how to. I make them make a pre-pro book. The creatives do it. I was like, break down every single thing. I'm like, what angle is she walking in from? What color are they wearing?
Yeah.
This is like, not only because they need to learn it, but they have to help sell every single thing into the client every step of the way. Because by the time you show up on set, the client there's no surprises. Everything has to be that planned, but it's not a skill set that they teach creatives. So I'll actually go in and do training in advance sometimes of them even being a client, just so that then they're a better client later. But, our team is really like, whether it's bringing in extra creatives to help them execute something or our team, once we're embedded, it's like we're able to be involved from the very beginning of pitching and developing an idea so that they just feel so much more comfortable by the time something is being executed for the more senior level people to be on to the next pitch and getting business, because you cannot scale while you're looking down, right? You can't walk forward while staring at your feet.
Yes.
You have to make sure that the most senior people have the ability to walk forward.
Yes. Gosh, that was good. That was a mic drop moment right there. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about production or creative operations?
I would say like production, it's like, oh, I have a phone. I can do like, yes, there's things that you can do, but there's a different kind of thing that back to, I think what I was saying earlier, where you don't have to plan.
Totally.
Like it really is that every single thing needs to be planned. And that sounds so ridiculous, but it really is attention to detail and in a intentionality. Like every single thing is a choice, and it's an art choice. And like every frame of this is going to tell the person viewing it a story. And you need to think about that through the entire project.
Yes, totally. Okay, I want to look ahead. I want you to tell me about the program you're launching for creative agencies. Can you give me a little scoop on that?
I just spoke about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But so really launching production training, whether it's lunch and learns where we take one topic that they're really having an issue with, or we'll even go in and do like a week of courses where it's like we're going to talk about doing hands-on training of being in the pitch, thinking about production in the pitch, thinking about PR execution and media execution in the pitch of the creative. For example, where is it going to live? That matters just as much than the idea. So you need to have versions of an idea that work for social, that work for out of home, that work for PR. If you're able to do that as a smaller agency, not only can you hold on to more of the business, but it's going to have that much more of an impact. Like, do not wait for the brand to come to you with, well, here's what our PR team thinks, or here's what our like media team has purchased. No, here, like if they have that information, great. You can go ahead and like apply the creative in the pitch deck to those things for them. But think about more than just, the idea, and don't assume that everyone has the same image of it in your head. Like you need to overshow everything in your deck. So we do a lot of training for that. And even just like budget training, like better knowing like how much stuff costs.
Totally.
And when you need to bring in this person or what this role is on set, how to have better communication on set with your clients.
Yes.
The biggest issues I've had lately are that a lot of the influencer agencies are now wanting to do more production work because the quality of production now needs to kind of go up. The industry is shifting a lot. So these agencies that don't have production experience and don't really know everything that goes into it, don't realize that they're needing to have every single detail approved by the client and all of this stuff. And they just make assumptions. And I would say, like, I say it all day, like, you're literally making an ass of yourself. Like, it's just never assume anything. Totally. It all has to be laid out and over plan. Like, don't be afraid of someone being like, oh my God, I'm not an idiot. You don't have, like, you don't have to map this whole, yes, you do. You literally do.
For sure.
So it's, we were going in and we're doing that training and it's been really fun. I think like I was doing it anyways, but in that way where it was just adding 2 weeks of pre-production because I was having to fix the problem later versus if I can train them in advance, then it just makes them a better client moving forward.
God, this is so freaking valuable. So valuable. The work that you do in this industry, I know, and we talked about like the time blocking and productivity, but I know you're also a mom of two. I would love to like get on the insides of like, what is your, how do you manage? Like,
Caffeine,
please give
coffee.
me, like give me a look at like your day to day, week to week, and how you're able to like, manage all
I
of the
used to
hats.
have what I called like first shift and third shift, where it was like before daycare drop off, and then like all day work, and then like after the kid went to bed. But like since I had a second one, a third shift does not exist. No. I'm not. My brain after 9 p.m. is not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's just more of like, what do I need to delegate? What can I do? What is not worth my time? What's worth hire cleaners?
Oh
like
my
have
gosh,
people that
for
do
the love
like,
of God, it
have
helps
people
so
clean
much.
your house
Yeah,
or do
it's
your
worth
laundry.
it.
It is worth it. Move your mother in with you if you need to. I've done that. Like do whatever you need to do to like get it done and just prioritize. But also like I'm in especially the last like 6 months and even to a year where I'm like in my no era. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, like don't be afraid of being unliked.
Yeah.
And I spent too long, not only as a business owner, but then once I had kids and not having enough time, taking on projects for like clients that stuff that I was said yes to 15, 20 years ago because I was trying to grow a business and I was afraid of like not having any clients. And then they just keep taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, you always just figured it out.
Right.
I'm like, but now I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Like a no budget project is so much more of my time.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm calling everyone to pull favors.
True.
And I love doing it, but you have to be okay with saying no now. Like this is below me. And I can't, like, I'll recommend, I'll help you, but like, I'm not. I like to say, fuck you, pay me. Like, don't, like, if you're gonna like pay me and I'll do it, but stop devaluing what I've been bringing to the table.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What do you see
Don't
as...
say that to my kid.
Fuck you, pay me. No, it's so true though. Cause I feel like becoming a mom has like forced you to flex those muscles of like, prioritizing and saying no and eliminating the things that like really just are not worth the time and the energy.
And realizing when you want to be present, right?
sure.
So, because we have to do that. Okay, well, then I have to pick the kid up at this, or then I have to do this. Well, then and you're pre-planning everything.
Totally.
But then I really try like between 5 and 8 to like have my laptop down, my phone off, and like I'm not really reachable.
Yeah.
If I can be, like, because that's the small window of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here in Austin at South by. This is like the first time I've experienced South by, and I'm like not even scratching the surface, to be honest.
Nah.
But I would love to know, being in Austin, I do feel like there's this pulse and this energy and there's innovation. I would love to know from your perspective, like what is the future for your industry? What do you see as like the next thing that kind of excites you, or maybe not so much excites you?
What I love about South by versus something like Cannes, right?
Yeah.
Like, is I always feel like Cannes is paid for by like the biggest companies, the biggest agencies, the biggest everything, who they're not telling you what's actually next. They're telling you what they want you to keep buying from them, or what they want to be next, right? Like if you were at Cannes last year and they're like, influencer agencies or influencers are still a thing. They're not. They're losing money hand over fist. They just want you to buy into this idea, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that like the big media companies, like, yes, so I'm buying this media from you. So you're telling me, you're interpreting the data to me however you want in order to get me to buy more of that thing.
Correct.
When in reality, everything is going back to this beta version. The reason that Y2K is popular now is because it's a beta version of where we are now. It's this like less technology, more community. I had flip phones and MySpace, but like we could go do stuff. Yeah. And so South by is much more of like what's next, what's coming next, how do we get people together? So they've condensed it this year, which is quite hectic. So it's like 3 weeks of stuff condensed into like 5 days.
It's crazy.
Which is insane. But it's always that energy of like, no, this is actually the stuff that's next, is like getting in front of people, talking to people. We miss that so much that is, what I tell my clients at the time. I was like, I'll shoot a commercial for you, but what we should do is attach it to an event, or go tell real people's stories, and go embed in all these local community clubs that are popping up.
Totally.
And South by is one of those events that just really anyone can participate. Anyone can have a South by pop up. It's not like
So cool.
Limited.
So cool.
Or like there's no elitism.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I love it so much. Okay. Before we kind of like wrap things up, we ask this question to all of our podcast guests. Oh, no. It is the letter to our future makers. If a young creative or entrepreneur found this podcast 10 years from now, what's one piece of advice that you would want them to take from you?
Go back in the bunker. No.
Yeah.
That's depressing. I look better then, don't I? I would say you don't ever lose the basic principles. The technology changes, the way people interact with it, even like AI, people using AI in a lot of different ways. There's always going to have to be a person giving the creative and the prompt, and that part of the process will never change. So if you like learn the basics, learn everything the hard way first. Yeah. Don't just like, oh, well, I can do this with an app now and a shortcut. Like I know I can upload a video and it'll like edit it for me, but you still need to learn everything the hard way because those principles you can always come back to.
Yeah. And yeah, lean into that. And it also builds it flexes your creativity more. So which makes you more valuable.
I learned to produce on a old strip board. Have you seen an old strip board?
Yeah, well, no, I'm sorry.
So the way they used to produce back in the day is that you would take a film script and you would break down every location, every character, indoor, outdoor, every prop, every vehicle, the camera angle, the camera, like, is it close up, wide, how many cameras? And every single scene every single shot was broken down into a teeny tiny strip, right? So you would build everything based on, okay, well, it's easiest for us, we'll do this location and then this, like to organize it by the easiest flow.
Yeah.
But it was really a detailed, like very like involved process.
Right.
But that's because the reason I don't even have to go to set anymore is because if you've done your job the hard way and really dug in there and like over planned everything, then it just makes it that much easier. So It's like, that's kind of like, don't be afraid to do it the hard way.
Yeah, for sure. Because it does make it easier in the long run. You know, you're in it for the long game. This is so
Except for cleaning your house. Do that the easy way. Get someone to do it.
You can delegate that all day long. Okay, tell us how people can stay connected to you. Where can they find you, your work?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Dani Dufresne on LinkedIn. And we can learn all about our company there as well. You can find me on Instagram at SweetDMD, but if you want to look at photos of my dogs and kids. And yeah, just feel free to reach out anytime on LinkedIn. I love talking to people. And one thing that I've been doing a lot lately is chatting with like young up and coming directors and just helping them like craft their website and reel and helping them get better work because I think no one teaches them that.
That's huge. Yeah. I hope you hear that because I think that's one of the biggest blocks. I think, young creatives getting into the industry, I think they feel like, oh, how do I even reach out? Like, what is the best way? Or has there been a young creative that's reached out where you're like, oh yeah, this is how I would do it?
You could also find my newsletter, The Aux Cable.
Oh yes.
Why can't I? What's the on Substack?
Substack.
How old am I? On Substack, and I also post that to LinkedIn. But like, I'm loving Substack.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I haven't like dove into Substack. Do you think this is?
It's a lot of like I see an ad I hate, and then I'm like, ooh, and then I just like, it's where I'm really honest about stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. I can't wait to dive into that. Dani, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So grateful for you.
Have fun in Austin.
Thank you.
It's a marathon, so
it's a marathon. Yeah. Stay hydrated. Yes.